Hi everyone, it's Paula here. I wanted to pop in here today to talk to you about the leadership distinction of generosity. It's one of my favorites, and the reason why it's one of my favorites is because I have struggled with it so much. For many, many years, I have lived in this scarcity mindset, which means I always felt like I wasn't fulfilled. I always felt like I did not have time. Never had time to actually do the work that I needed to do. Never had time to finish my to-do list. Never had time to spend with friends and family, and on and on and on the story goes. But the problem with that is that that is just a story. It's just something that we tell ourselves. And guess what happens when we tell ourselves that I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't have money, I don't have time, I don't have energy, I'm tired. You're going to experience all that. So I got to step out of that and learn a whole new different way of being, which I've been practicing a lot, and I love it. And it is the distinction of generosity. Now, true generosity begins with an open heart. It begins with the heart that does not expect anything in return. So when we are generous, we get to come from unconditional love, and we get to come from a place that you are being generous for the sake of generosity, for the sake that you're just creating that in the world. And that in and of itself is a noble act. And I just checked the etymology of generosity, and what it used to mean, it was related to nobility. So somebody who is noble is also generous. And guess what? Your true self and your soul, where you come from, is actually this way, is actually generous. So our ego, who is always living in the world of lack, gets to really be put to the side and learn to live from this place of your noble soul, which is generosity. The other thing that came from that check of what the generosity word means was birth. So it's related to the word beget. You know, it's the old language from Bible, and so begetted a son, and so forth. So beget is also rebirth. So generosity is being noble, it's being humble, it's about generating something new. And when we focus out and when we are generous, we're not expecting anything in return. What doesn't happen is exhaustion. It's actually energizing. It feels good. It warms your heart. And I do that as a very purposeful, intentional technique. When I'm tired, I'm not going to isolate myself. I'm not going to numb myself by putting the TV on or doing something else that is numbing. I'm going to focus out, and most likely I'll be, doing something to be in service, reaching out to someone, talking to someone, or doing something generous in that moment. So when we are in that place, you're creating this feedback loop. That's abundance. Ooh, this is abundance. So you are giving out and it's coming in back to you. Okay, so that is the distinction of generosity. So my invitation for you is to practice this. Just start being generous, and it can start with very small things. For example, just last week, one small generous thing that I did is I washed my ex-husband's dishes. Yes, I did. I was walking their dog. My ex-husband lives with his girlfriend, and they have this cute dog that I absolutely love. I live very nearby, so when they have a long day, I'm going to go there and walk the dog. So I saw dirty dishes in the sink, and I washed them, and it felt so good. I really loved it. And, I wasn't expecting, no praise. I don't think they even noticed it, and it doesn't matter. But the point here is that the act of generosity can be that small. It could even be like, give a smile to somebody. Be generous with your eye contact and smiling when you are walking down the street. And of course, my invitation for you is, how can you be generous with your children? And I'm not saying more generous, because you are either generous or you are not. So it's a really a choice, a place of choice that where you can get to come from. Is either are you living a generous life? If you're not living a generous life, you are living in scarcity. And in scarcity, we can't find joy, happiness, fulfillment. We cannot experience the nobility of our soul, and the rebirth doesn't happen also in that place. That is my invitation for you this week, to practice this leadership distinction of generosity. And if you want to know more about that and how to up-level your leadership, go ahead and click the button that says book a call with me, and we can talk about that. Have a great rest of the week. Bye now.